Peace. Barricade.
Yeah, tack så mycket. And maybe I should add something about myself, because I receive 12 years of prison already in absentia. So as Belarusian governmental propaganda says that I'm already in prison, so officially I am in Belarusian prison now. And send hello for everyone. But of course, I don't know, Tort, would you like to say something before?
No.
Okay, so actually, I love political jokes, because political jokes in Belarus, as you can imagine, are forbidden. And I want to start my reflection, maybe it could be more correct to say about this, from one small joke about Belarus and freedom of expression and a little religion. So, you know, after the death, usually people are going to paradise or to hell. And only Belarusians, after the death, they're going to Belarus. And you know, I hope we are still alive, but I have strong impression now that we all are moving to Belarus, or maybe even wake up in Belarus, but don't understand this, because now I am in exile in Lithuania, and for me, it was much easy to be in Belarus and work under repressions, because in Belarus everything was very easy. We have angels, we are, who is fighting, you know, against bad guys and devil. And of course, we understand that we have a lot of propaganda from Russia and from the Belarusian regime. But when I moved to Lithuania, I was a little bit surprised. Actually, the former Lithuanian Prime Minister, she told publicly Belarusians feel in Lithuania like at home, and I even cannot imagine that she means in so direct way, you know, because in Lithuania now very often or more and more often I feel like in Belarus. And I feel like now we have propaganda from both sides, military propaganda, and I see how we have shrinking space for freedom of expression and freedom of speech. And what I mean that we have allowed topics which we can discuss publicly, and at the same time we have taboo topics and we cannot touch it. If you can touch the topics, it should be some kind of consequence for the people. What I mean taboo topics, for example, it's impossible to say that every Ukrainian man, this is some kind of like mainstream opinion, and you have to support the opinion. Every Ukrainian man wants to go to the front. In reality, it's not true. But if you speak about it, if you speak about Ukrainian consensus objectors and violations which they have, of course, it should be some kind of troubles. The same situation like mainstream opinion is all Russian people support the war. Again, it's not true. And if you start to speak about anti-war activist in Russia who is facing repressions and imprisonment, etc., the same problems, you know, the same troubles. And our problem now that we have more and more taboo topics. So the space for discussion, for public discussion, for reflections of the very complicated situation, if we are all now, it's more and more. And also people who is trying to touch untesty topics and speak about it, they have a lot of consequence. And for me, it's shock and a lot of triggers, because I had the same situation in Belarus and I have the same situation in Lithuania. And I'm quite sure that many people, my colleagues in different countries, have the same consequence. What I mean, in Russia, it's very easy to be labeled as foreign agent. In Belarus, as you can imagine, it's very easy to receive label as terrorist or extremist, and for terrorism in Belarus, this is a death penalty now, so you should imagine this is very dangerous. But in Lithuania, for example, Lithuanian Department of National Security declare or label it people like they can be a threat of national security, and this is also accusation, or agent of influence or something like that. In reality, this is the same. This is the social stigma for people who has the right, who is fighting for the right of expression, and who try to touch very unpleasant topics and try to discuss it, try to reflect about it. And of course, in Belarus now we speak about such kind of civil death, or as we already discussed with toward social death, when people who is not in the mainstream track, they disappeared, not in physical sense, but they have some kind of death for civil society. They excluded from the media. It's impossible to publish their articles. They excluded from the conferences, or even as we have the situation with Summit for Peace in Vienna, the place for the conference or the summit immediately is cancelled at last moment, etc., etc. And also, this is a lot of economical pressure for civil society organizations who is trying to find the way and try to have such kind of public reflections about unpleasant topics and many other things. And in reality, we see how our governments, or governments from our side, they have very easy explanation. We have a war. In reality, they still have no war. This is no war in Lithuania, this is no war in Sweden, in other countries, but this is explanation how to create such kind of shadow zone, and how to get out from the universal conception of human rights. Because if you have wartime, of course, people say that we don't need to follow for legislation, we don't need to follow for human rights, we can do what we can or we want, etc., etc. So this is some kind of it's very serious consequence for European peace movement now. And if we speak about my common impression, this is now we are excluded from the decision-making process. We receive already some kind of prepared narratives by somebody, we don't know whom. We receive some kind of tracks, and you cannot break the tracks. And this is very seriously problem, and we have to do something with this. And maybe we can make it in such kind of dialogue, because I don't want to have monologue. I think that we have to discuss it. Yeah.
Peace, barricade.